Macronutrients, right? So we've heard of carbohydrates, protein. What's the last one? Fat. Right. So we're on to a good start there, right? Food also includes, so we'll say micronutrients, right? So everyone's heard of like vitamin C and minerals and all that kind of stuff, right? We should be getting that from food. That's good, high quality food. Good nutrients, good macronutrients provide good nutrients to our body, and that's moving forward, right? What does food do then? So if we know what it is, we can kind of look at it and kind of take it in. So what does it do? Understanding why this stuff is important and where we go from here is going to be. So what does food do? Make you fat. Yeah. Provides you the need for more toilet paper, right? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Somebody fucking laughed, right? I said like food kind of like we talked about. Food kind of tells a story a little bit. I think that. A wedding cake, right? That's a piece of food, and that kind of entails a little bit of a situation, right? Ethnic food, right? So you're from Nigeria or Uganda or Italy or something like that. You're probably going to eat a little different food, right? Makes sense? Questions? Food tells us to do certain things, right? Like it's hot, okay, don't eat this. You get some type of allergic reaction from something, right? Okay, it's probably not a good food, like we put a celiac, right, gluten intolerance, right? So that's your body producing some type of response to something you've taken in. That food doesn't really suit your system very well. The biggest thing that food's really going to do for all of us, and that happens, is a signaling of hormones, right? So we've kind of all heard hormones and what those do in our body, right? Digestion starts. Have you ever heard anyone say that, like, I could look at cake and get fat? Yeah, that's actually moderate history, right? So digestion starts as soon as you see the food, as soon as you smell the food. Your body goes into a chemical reaction, right? Starts releasing hormones as far as where we're going to shuttle these nutrients and what we're going to do, right? We good? I guess why am I presenting this? Why am I wasting my time asking these questions? Why is this important? What is food? What does it do? We're going to start to try to get everyone to understand here what food does inside of our body, so we stop looking at food like as soon as you put the fork down, the food is done, right? I've eaten and that's it, meal's over, right? I would say that absolutely just starts, right? Digestion and what the food does, what that does, the hormones and the signaling, what it does to your body, it just begins as soon as you put the food down. So we want to really think about a lot more about what does food do, what it doesn't it do, does it produce immune responses, inflammation, different things like that, right? So, like we just briefly touched on, macronutrients, what they are, what they do. Tori's going to take it from there, and we'll go from there. So guys, any questions or anything like that, just please go ahead, stop, shout them out. We'll get them up on the board, whatever it needs to be. Yep.
So, first of all, we'll just sort of break down macronutrients, okay? Protein, fats, carbs, and we'll just get a few suggestions from everybody. Like, what are some protein sources? What are some carb sources? What are some fat sources? What do we think of protein, carbs, fats, those kinds of stuff? Sort of get just a sort of list, just a small list of what each one compromises. So, protein. Anybody know what a good protein source is? Chicken. So poultry. Fish. Beef. Pork. Protein shake. Powders. We have protein powders. We have egg powders. We have whey. We have a ton of different beef powders. We have a ton of different powders that we're going to give us the same sort of amino profile as like food, but obviously a lot more convenient, especially if we're traveling. Anything else? Nuts would be more of a almost where we categorize that more as a fat first. But do nuts have protein in them? Absolutely. But it's going to be sort of more of on a fat side kind of stuff. So, but that's a good fat here.
Eggs are protein.
Eggs.
I hate saying it, but soy.
So what?
Soy.
Soy protein. Again, we've heard it. Sometimes we heard soy is like either really good for us, really bad for us. Again, it just depends on the amount that we have. Soy helps our body convert into estrogen. So if we're eating a ton of it, yes, it's not good for either one of us, but little bits and pieces of it here and there, it's not bad. It just depends on if it's more of a preference style or a lifestyle kind of stuff too. Some of the things out there, they're required, or that's one of their main sources. So not totally bad. So we can put that one down there too. What about some carbs? Pretty much everybody loves carbs, right?
Veggies.
What do we got?
Vegetables.
Vegetables. So we'll put veggies. Sugar. Pasta. Sugars.
Bread.
Alcohol,
Yeah.
wine.
Bread. Alcohol we'll put over here, just sort of like it's all by itself. And I will like I'll explain that sort of thing again. We can consume it. It has calories, but how does our body? What does our body sort of when we have a drink? How does our body signal it? What does that do compared to like our fats, our carbs, proteins? How does it signal it that way? What about any more fats? Avocado.
Coconut oil.
Egg yolks.
Egg yolks.
Olive oil.
Olives. And we'll put oils down here because obviously oils are very good. We have our olive oils. We have sunflower oil. We have grapeseed oil. We have coconut oil. What? Seeds. Butter. Again, there is no bad carb. There is no bad fat. There is no bad things. Are there things that are better for us that our body's going to utilize a lot better? For sure. But there isn't anything. This comes from me, who's sort of gone through a ton of different ways. I grew up in the bodybuilding style. I grew up on, certain things are bad, or you have to eliminate these completely out of your diet to get where you want to get to, and it's just not simply the case. So she can understand. Like I went through a phase where like I had a goal. Like I had a goal. Like I wanted to get better shape. So like I stuck to a plan that was given to me like by previous coaches, kind of stuff. Like here, these are the only kind of proteins you can have. Here's your carb sources. Here's your fat sources. And I couldn't stray off of that. I couldn't have alcohol. I couldn't have any of that kind of stuff. And sure, did I get results? Sure, but was I happy? Was it sustainable? Was it lifelong? Did I miss out on events with my wife, my mom when she was alive? Absolutely. So yeah, those can be those can be done, but they're not sustainable. So sure, everything in moderation is one of it. But
can you talk a little bit about just kind of the lifestyle and like what you're talking about, what it takes to like get super lean or
yeah,
that
for sure.
Like
Yeah,
kind of
again,
giving up certain pieces
right.
of life.
Yep, we all have goals. Like I've competed on stage in bodybuilding. I've done paid modeling shoots where I had to get super lean. So there's a degree of how strict do I have to be? What things do I have to give up for either a short period of time to get that result? Yes. Usually, typically, to get extremely lean, we're talking for men, at least 8-7% body fat. Women, 15%, because women's body fat percentages are a lot different. So if you ever see a woman saying on Instagram or Facebook that they're 10% or 9%, they're not. They just have a higher. Doesn't mean they've got shredded abs and all this. Sure, they just have a higher range. But to get to that level, you've got to be extremely on point. There is no going out to eat. There is no enjoying kinds of food that you want down to a certain point. Usually 8 weeks out of something, yeah, I'm digitally scaling everything. Like I'm measuring everything out to a T. I'm not going out to restaurants, and even if I look on their nutritional menu, that's still not to that degree. To get to that kind of caliber, yeah, I have to give up pizza. I have to give up my craft beers that I like for a short period of time. Unless we want to step on stage, unless we want to like get that extremely lean, which is not sustainable. It's not I want to get that lean and I can maintain that. That's a 2-week long process, and then I'm done. It's not good for my hormones. I lose sex drive. I lose libido. I lose my nails get brittle, that kind of stuff. So it's not healthy. It's just a short period of time. So for the most of us, we have goals. We want to either lose weight, we want to put muscle, we want to look good in a bathing suit, whatever the case is. In that kind of style, there's nothing that we have to like totally eliminate. Do we maybe start off on a nutrition plan like, here, this is what I have. I'm having X amount per week. Great, I'm not losing any weight. Okay, well, now maybe I shift down and we'll use alcohol because maybe most of us in here have a drink from occasion to kind. Maybe I have 4 glasses of wine a week. Great. Okay, I'm not losing any weight. I'm still eating good, healthy foods, good protein, carb, fat sources. So now maybe I need to drop down to 3 glasses of wine a week. Okay, I can still enjoy that, but I have to sort of minimize some of that extra fancy restaurant stuff or fun foods, I like to call them, because there's really not a cheat meal, but like, you know, kids cereals or like Ben and Jerry's ice cream, those kinds of stuff. They're good, they're tasty, can they be had in moderation? Sure, but depending on where our goals are at, will dictate, you know, from what kinds of these sources that we have more. These are a lot more filling, okay? 2 Pop-Tarts, 8 grams of fat, 70 grams of carbs, 5 grams of protein. 1 cup of cooked oatmeal, huge. 54 grams of carbs, 7 grams of protein, you get fiber, and you get 5 grams of fat. Ton more filling, calories a lot even lower than what 2 Pop-Tarts are. So when I'm trying to like get full off of a meal, or I'm trying to, you know, progress towards a weight loss, that is going to sustain me a lot longer. My body's going to utilize those complex carbs a lot more than Pop-Tarts, you know. So it's just sort of picking better sources 85% of our time. You know, we don't have to ever give up everything, but we still have to eat more of these sources on a regular daily basis. Get that started first. We don't worry about scaling, we don't worry about any of that kind of stuff, especially starting off. It's just too complicated. The big thing is like tracking maybe one meal down the road. First, what do I normally eat? Am I eating most of this kind of stuff on a regular basis? I eat a lot more processed stuff. I eat a lot more boxed stuff. All right, maybe I want to sort of take that away, and I want to sort of concentrate on ingredients that have like oatmeal. It has 1 ingredient. Chicken, 1 ingredient. You know, rice, 1 ingredient. Fruits, your green vegetables, your oils, those kinds of stuff there. I want to try to eat that kind of lifestyle first. Then from there, that's when I can really start dictating how much of what that I should be taking in on a daily basis to lower my calories. It's obviously the biggest thing is calories in, calories out. So if I eat less than what I'm normally consuming on a daily basis, I lose weight. If I consume more, obviously I'm going to add weight. So for the general, just to get started, this is what I want. I want good quality whole foods first in my nutrition plan. That way it's going to sort of help fill me up. It's going to give me the micronutrients that I need, like the vitamin C's, your K's, your B's, things that we need for healthy hair, skin, hormone production. You know, like we talked about a little bit, protein is muscle building, it's also muscle retention. Carbs are going to give us our energy. Fats are for our hormone production and regulation. So we need good quality fats, we need carbs, we need protein. Just the amount that we need is going to be designated by our lifestyle, our activity level. How much are we having to sit, a desk job? Are we a construction worker? Do we work out 5 days a week for 3 hours a day? Do we work out 3 to 5 times a week for an hour? You know, that time still get up a good sweat. That still sort of will dictate how much, you know, nutrients that we need on a daily basis to get to where we want to get to, and then just sustain it too. So any type of nutrition plan, we're going to decrease those calories to an X amount, get to where we want to get to personal wise. Like, man, I look in the mirror, I feel good, I'm healthy, I'm performing how I want to perform. Now I want to sort of bump those calories up again to a maintenance level and then just maintain that. So we just slowly, it's a slow process. It's just, I've tried with both, some clients like right to scaling, and other ones like, what's a macronutrient? I don't know. What are you taking in right now? I just eat. Okay, well, this is our first step. Just try to focus on our whole foods first. Don't worry about the amounts so much of just trying to get on a nice step plan here, and then from there, then that's when we can go into like the next step, the more detailed step. Like, okay, I'm eating this like 85% of the time for every single of my meals. This is what I eat. I'm not losing any weight, or I'm not putting on size. Like, what do I do? Now that's when you get into more of specific, like based on your activity level, your size, what you're doing, you need this amount of calories to start with, or this amount of protein, carbs, and fats. You might need more or less. You might need more or less. That's where then it becomes more of individual kind of stuff too. So, any
question? Lisa, what do you think? No? Hey, anyone want to come up here and give us an example of what they ate today? I'm going to pick you, Jake. No one's going over here. Oh, shit. All right, let's go ahead. Go ahead, jump up.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, somebody else will, right? So again, the point here, right, like Tori and we're kind of trying to talk to is that everyone will have different needs, everyone will have different goals, and kind of identifying with some of the stuff that Tori has done with bodybuilding and other fitness, the endurance stuff, right? Your body's going to need different stuff as well to perform the task at hand, right? As well as there's going to be a different macro micronutrient scheme that's going to work well for other people, right? I personally don't think Tori, like, not one diet's going to be great. Like I think that paleo is pretty easy to follow. It pretty much cuts out all the crap food, right? But that might not be good for endurance athletes, right? Or different, you know, if we got guys in here doing a lot of CrossFit, doing a lot of swimming, like Alex and stuff. So there's going to be really there's not like a one size fits all, right? And
It's
a lot
finding
of
what
this is.
and you enjoy, like what types of foods do you
I
like.
enjoy like chocolate and beer. I think
That's
that's not gonna.
How can you fit that
There-
in and
how
still
can I
live a
fit that
lifestyle,
in?
right? Again, maybe you can't have like 4 chocolate bars a day, but can you probably fit one in? Probably.
They
It's
got
just
chocolate beer though.
well, then that's a win-win right there, right?
Chocolate's got good fat, right?
Yeah, chocolate to a degree is good for you. Yeah, the darker the chocolate is, it's good for you. Again, there's not too much stuff that's bad for you. It's just you're gonna get like that type of a chocolate is good for you. Like it's got those micronutrients. It's got a good sort of fat from
Jay,
it.
I'm just looking for something.
Nothing
to pick
bad.
on. I don't really have too much of a problem here, right? So guys, let's run through this, and we'll get a couple other hopefully fearless volunteers to come on up here and check stuff out. But right, so Jay, we worked out this morning, or no?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we had 2 eggs, beef sausage, and an onion. All right, what do we think so far? Good. It's not too bad, right? Jay's on it. All right. Some plain yogurt, right? So we're eliminating some of the sugar, getting in some good fats in there, right? Good probiotics for his stomach, digestive processes. Okay. Steak with some spinach, lentils, and a squash and some tea. But all right, that's pretty good, right? I don't really have much in there for him, right? Very, very good. Who's next? Hey, come on, Mrs. Penn. It's gonna take a while. All right. Well, we got time. We got time.
And my wife is one of those where she and we've been together for 6 years, so she was on that phase of you have to eat this, like you have to eliminate alcohol, you have to, you know, this is your set meal that you have to eat every single day. To how I've evolved as like a nutritional consultant. Now, here, babes, this is what, you know, we've worked out with her protein or carb range that she needs to maintain. Now, you know, she can fit in her glass of wine if she wants one on a Wednesday night and still like stay on track. She knows how to sort of enjoy those things, but majority of her diet is still 85-90% good high quality foods that one provide her the energy, provide her the muscle building, the muscle retention, keep her hormone levels high enough. Again, too low of fat, that will mess with us. It messes with men and women. It messes with our thyroid issues too. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough healthy fats in there. Carbohydrates, obviously based on our activity level. If we're sitting at a desk all day, we don't need 500 grams of carbs. If we're swimming for 3 hours, we probably need at least 500 grams of carbs to maintain the energy, to maintain that performance, and that kind of stuff too. So, all right.
And my spelling is terrible, you guys, so don't make
I'm the
fun
spell
of me.
checker.
I think that's all that I had.
Yeah,
So
I'm
far.
not going to be the spell checker, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, guys. So I'm sorry if you can't see this. I'll try and pull it aside, right? So we've got 20 shredded wheat with some almond butter, or I'm sorry, almond milk. Almond milk. We can do that too, right? A little coffee creamer, half a sandwich, bowl of butternut squash with some pumpkin seeds, vanilla yogurt, and green tea, right? And that works for you, right? So what do we?
That's
what
a
do,
little over what I should probably be eating, but I'm not on a cut phase. Or anything
no,
like
right?
that,
So we're not doing anything.
But she's maintaining roughly about, you know, 2 to 3 pounds, you know,
Can we
a
get
week.
some
Like
up
she's
here
not
that
going
you
up
can talk
consistently.
about? Yes,
she's not
Alex,
going way
yes.
down. So
Oh man, Alex.
Mine's gonna be real short.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, that's good. That's what we
If
want
it
too.
says toppers and that's it, right?
No,
The whole
not
thing.
that. What did I have for breakfast? I had baked oatmeal that I got from my coffee shop. So like
I want to see that diet
Right.
from last weekend. You were talking.
Jimmy John's.
I do have to mention on mine,
16.
I eat like unsweetened almond milk, and the butternut squash soup I made myself, so I know all the ingredients in it. The vanilla yogurt is the 80 calorie one. It's not the full fat
That's all
yogurt.
I had.
What is it?
So I do watch my stuff that way.
Look it out.
I mean, I'm just
So
asking.
right on a dryer. It's
Just
literally
asking.
all day.
Right?
So I didn't make any of these things.
Did not, no, but I ate them. So that's good,
I did
right?
eat them, yeah.
So thank you, Alex. Right? Absolutely. So guys, what do we think? First of all, Mandy's, right? Looks pretty good. Looks terrible. What do we think? Anybody? Yeah, right. How far off are most of you guys from eating stuff like this? And how many of us?
To be honest, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, we all start somewhere. We're not sure, so.
Yeah,
You know?
that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
How many of us are closer to Alex's? Alex, you have to raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, Scott. Good. Good. And what do you think? What's the main reason for it? Time, right? Convenience, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And it's probably Jimmy John's. This shit is delicious, I'm sure, right? Yeah.
deliver.
Absolutely. So it comes down to, again, guys, like what are we eating for? Is it that we're eating this way because we don't know how to eat otherwise? Or, right? Time, right? Good.
Yep.
Good. So we have time, right? Anything else? Convenience, I guess. Kind of comes along with time.
For sure.
Right?
We're all hectic. We don't have time to make 3 meals or 4 meals or 5 meals. Most of us just don't have that luxury anymore. It'd be nice to like, hey, I've got an hour. I can prepare a really homemade lunch or home. We're on the go. We have kids. We have things that we got to do. It's like, okay, I know I want to get something. I'm hungry. That's why we have the fast foods, or we just do quick stuff like this because it's easy, it's convenient, it fills us up, it keeps us going. Now it's just sort of like, okay, well, I'm on the go. What are, some maybe go-tos that are still convenient? That's where we talked about like the powders. Obviously, easy for protein. They even make protein powders now that are like a meal replacement that have good quality complex carbohydrates in there, and they have quality fats in there too. So it's almost like a complete meal. So they have a ton of things that have come a long way, and the taste. I grew up, I've been doing this, I'm 39, I started when I was 21, so 18 years. So I was introduced to protein bars when they were just god-awful horrible, and protein powders were god-awful horrible. Now they actually taste pretty darn close to like really good stuff that you're like, man, I can actually enjoy this, not go, I gotta chalk this down because, well, I know it's good for me, but I don't really like it. Now it's like, oh, I can actually eat this, and it's a good little snack on the go. Great.
Like with powders and protein bars and stuff, like there's so much misinformation. Like,
Yep.
how do you identify what's going to be good for
The
you?
best
versus
thing,
what's
almost for anything, is like the lower the amount of ingredients that are on there, the better it is.
Okay.
So again, if you have something that has just a ton of the labels this long, or something like the RX bars where it's like, hey, it's egg whites, it's dates, it's almonds, it's this, that's going to be your best bet. So
if you can spell most of the ingredients, it's
Okay.
generally like just a rule
Yep.
of thumb, right?
Yeah.
And if it sounds like some type of science experiment, I mean, I can't, I might have trouble spelling almonds or dates,
right.
We're not going to use my spell checking ability here, but
Yep, and there's a ton of varieties now that are really good. There's some that have an extra amount of fiber because a lot of people, depending on like if we're eating like this, oatmeal has some, but how much is it in there compared to like how much, guys, like all my clients, my women, I want at least 15 grams of fiber in a day. My men, I want 25 grams of fiber a day. That's just the bare minimum. Where if we're eating this kind of stuff here and we're getting these kinds of stuff in here, it's not an issue. But if we're only eating like Jimmy John's, we're eating like quick stuff on the go, the chances that we're getting 15 grams of fiber really, really slim. That's where you want to make sure that we're getting greens in a lot, at least 2 or 3 greens a day, like your zucchinis, your broccoli, your squash, or your asparagus. I mean, whatever type of greens that we like, getting a couple of those in. One, they're easier, they're on the go too. I mean, we can get cold cuts, snack them on the car while I drive and nothing. They have the fiber in there, they have the micronutrients in there, they're made up a lot of water too, so they're gonna help fill us up. So I love Jimmy John's, I love that kind of stuff. I can probably eat 6 subs. Give me like 200 grams, like a big bowl of broccoli and a big piece of fish or chicken. That's gonna fill me up a lot more than a sub is, even though I love the sub. So there's a time and a place for everything, and that's where we can gauge like what are we eating. Like, oh man, I just ate like 30 minutes ago and I'm already hungry again. Well, we're probably not eating something that has a lot of good fiber in it. It has a lot of good complex carbs. It's going to slow that digestion. It's going to make us feel full. So now I can go 2, 3, 4 hours and go, oh wow, it's been that long, and I'm not like craving something. Okay, well that's what I need to look at. So that's where the nice thing with the variety of like the protein bars, and they make extremely, like there's some like at Willie Street Co-op and different places, like they have to be refrigerated. Like they're that fresh. Like they will go bad because they're there. So if you have that convenience, great. Other ones when we're on the go and we just need to keep it in our car with us, like those RX bars, there's some other brands out there, 5 or 6 ingredients. That's all that they have in there. So man, I'm getting some good quality fats. I'm getting some good carbs. I'm getting 14 or 15 grams of protein. Hey, I'm getting at least something. Great, I can have a couple of these. That's going to get me at least home to dinner. Now I can actually have a little time where I can have, a little bit of pasta, a big bowl of veggies, and a good clean protein source or whatever too. So,
cool.
yeah.
Are there any other like reactions or like things to look for that tell you might be missing, like from one category, or should like increase? Like,
Obviously, carbohydrates are going to have them like if depending on how performance we are. Again, if you're in the gym and you're just like you're sluggish all the time, or your weight's going, you're not getting stronger, or you're losing it. A lot of the times that we're not taking enough calories that way and we're losing stuff. Fats are going to be with our hormone production, our thyroid, like brittleness, our nails, like our hair seems a little bit thinner, especially for like women. Like she's known, like when she's been on like an extreme cut, like she noticed it. Like skin complexity we'll notice too, depending on like how quality we are. Like it'll be more like vibrant, more like flexible kind of stuff, depending on how well we are. If we're very macronutrients kind of stuff, things are just brittle and we might break out, or we're just really dry. Like that's just like the quality of like the ingredients that we take in. how we look and how we feel too. So
I also notice that the more junk food that I eat, the more I crave it, and I think it has to do with the gut
Cleaning your
flora.
blood, clean.
Yeah, I just want it constantly until I do like okay, I need to knock it off
Yeah.
a little bit.
and we all have those. They're chemical process.
So why is that? Besides, I mean, the sugar. And
Gets in your blood.
A lot of the time, it's a chemical process. Like there's a chemical like again, I love like Chicago Uno's pizza. I love this, but like when I know if I have that, chances are like it signals that chemical in my brain that I'm like, man, I'm really hungry now, and all of a sudden I eat the pizza, and now I'm going to the cupboards and I'm eating something more. So it's just the quality. A lot of the times, it's what it is. I can make a homemade pizza with good quality ingredients, and I don't have any cravings. I don't want to reach for the cupboard. But if I have Ben and Jerry's ice cream, I can eat like 4 pints of that. I can get a healthier version ice cream or something different, and I don't have those urges. So a lot of times it's that we eat it and like it triggers that sort of that chemical imbalance or that chemical in our brain, and then we like want to keep eating more and more of that, or like 20 minutes later, man, I'm hungry still. I want to go in there and keep going. Where the higher quality foods, you don't get broccoli and go, man, I'm really starving right now. It's more of like, it doesn't really happen that much. I never binged off of like a healthier meal. It's only when I go outside of my normal routine and go, man, I haven't had Pop-Tarts in a while, and there's nothing wrong with Pop-Tarts, but I know for me, like, they don't fill me up, and I just want to continuously eat. So I'm like, so they're trigger foods. We all have them. So it's one of those associating with that. I know I don't keep that kind of stuff in the house because I can't stop. One of my clients, like with her, she can buy a chocolate bar, break off a piece of chocolate, eat one chocolate, roll it up, put it on the cupboard, and she's good for the day. My other client, he's a 65-year-old guy. He's like, if I bring a bar of chocolate home, I eat the entire thing. So he knows he can't keep that in the house, or if he does bring it home, he has plans that he's going to eat that throughout the day, and he's okay with it. So it's identifying those trigger foods that we all have and going, I probably shouldn't keep this in the house because I go through it a lot faster than what I probably should. So I'm only going to have that when I'm out and about with at a restaurant. Oh, that's when I'm going to have cheesecake, or that's when I'm going to have something, fried food, something like this, because I'll have that. I'll be the same way. If we're out at a restaurant and have pizza and we leave, that 20 or 30 minutes later when I'm not around food is when I'm most susceptible to it. And we're out doing something else, I don't even think about it. And by the time we get home, I'm not craving it. But if I have it at home, all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'm home, there's food nearby, well, I'm going to reach for that. So it's sort of it's individualized socializing with what food sort of trigger it, and then knowing I just need to stay away from that if I want to get to my goals, or I'm going to just only have that if I'm out and about and I know I don't have time to continuously eat or splurge on something else too. So
All right, guys, that's it. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if, let's say, I'll try to generalize.
Yeah.
Everyone here's trying to lose fat, but at least maintain muscle. Of those three categories, what kind of proportions are we looking at? Like how much protein versus calories should I take in versus fats? What's the breakdown?
So real quick, like I will cover that exactly. So we initially started out with a little bit of kind of talking about when we eat food and what happens, and we have some type of hormone release or signaling, right? So it'll kind of tie in a little bit to your question here, Matt. So when we eat protein, glucagon is released by the body. When we eat carbohydrates, insulin is released by the body. And eating fats, leptin. Okay, so leptin is going to do a lot to trigger our full feeling, right? So eating more fats, we'll get that full feeling a little bit faster. And we do see a lot of, obviously fats and proteins do usually come together in a little bundle in a different ratio. But so you'll kind of get like, if we eat a decent amount of grass-fed beef, like 2 or 3 patties or something like that, we fill up pretty quickly, right? Really kind of talking about the biggest thing when we're talking about losing fat and how does that happen. When we eat a ton of carbohydrates, right, they all are converted into glycogen or like sugar, right? So then that is eventually stored in the muscles or in your liver, okay? So when sugar enters the body, it goes into the bloodstream as in form of blood sugar, right? We've kind of all heard of this. As blood sugar is released, or the sugar goes up, insulin is released, right? Insulin's job is a storage hormone, right? So it's meant to store those that sugar in, like we said, liver, muscles, and what goes next is the belly fat or butt or arms or wherever it goes from there, right? So just kind of thinking about that, like like Matt, the question was how much of is the right ratio. I don't know if there is a right ratio.
It's more of individual, but again, you start off of it. General rule of thumb for majority of people, 0.8 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Okay, so if you weigh 120 pounds, the most that you really need is 120 grams of protein. The bare minimum, a rough idea, is about 0.8. That's just a big general rule of thumb. If you try to get in the amount of protein that your body weight weighs, that's just a general, easy kind of stuff. If we're trying to really diet down, we sort of bump it up, but just that's a general rule of thumb. There's a certain percentage about a fat that you want to maintain for your hormone levels, and then everything else is your carbohydrates, where then that just depends on your activity level, because if you're not active and you're only working out, you don't need, like we talked about, 300 grams of carbs a day. You might only need 125 grams of carbs a day, just to sort of have energy to get through the day, but you don't require as much as an elite athlete or a construction worker who's working 12 hours a day and then goes to the gym for an hour a night. They're going to require a lot more carbohydrates for that energy level, but we all still need a bare minimum of fat and roughly a good amount of protein.
So we talked a little bit on it earlier, why we're eating the Jimmy John's and baked and that kind of stuff. So like if we again want the goals like for Tori were to kind of dial it in to do this show, to do the bodybuilding, to do the photo shoots and that kind of stuff. But we talked, Scott, a little bit about inconvenient, right?
Yep.
Like we have to eat at Jimmy John's because it's on the run and that kind of stuff. So you're probably not gonna measure out 0.8 in every meal, right? You're not pre-cooking and pre-packaging every single meal that you do. So we have a really in terms of most of us here, general fitness, right? We're just kind of looking to lean out. If you're not really ready or interested to get to that level where we're absolutely going to dial everything in, a real easy model here is if everyone puts their hand up like this, right? Because I'm bigger than Tori and that kind of stuff. I might be a little bigger than Mandy, right? So Mandy's plate is going to be a little bit smaller than mine, right? This is your plate. This is your food, okay? This through here is going to be your meat portion. This through here is going to be your vegetable, your starches, okay? And maybe 2 thumbs worth of fat. So that could be half an avocado or what it is, right? Mandy doesn't eat as much as me because her hand is smaller or because she needs less energy throughout the day. I need maybe more energy because I have a bigger hand, right? So if that's a really kind of a shoot from the hip alternative, right? Rather than measuring, weighing, and going through all kinds of terrible shit, because it's not that much fun.
No, it's
it
not.
really
Unless
isn't.
you have that goal to really get down there, then you don't need to do it. Again, for people starting off, to get a good idea, yeah, it's nice to sort of get a ballpark. And again, that's where you start. This is a good general rule of thumb. If you want to get more detailed, then yes, you weigh stuff out for X amount of time. I've measured stuff on a digital scale for 8 years. Like I haven't done it now in the last 3 months, but I've done it for so long. I can pour out, egg whites or egg beaters kind of stuff and see. I can throw on a bunch of broccoli on there. I can get a portion at a restaurant and go, that's about 4 ounces of protein. I know that's about 24 grams of protein. Great. I know I'm getting about roughly that amount. I'm ballparking it. That's close enough. I'm maintaining the leanness level that I want to. I know how I need to change things, but for the most of us, it's here. Eat this, eat this. Am I losing weight? No. Okay, well, what do I want to take away from? I want to take away from my carbs, first. I want to keep that protein intact. I want to keep my fats down to a degree just for that healthy level.
Now, is this per meal or is this total?
Per meal. Because this gives us, again, if this is me, good, big chunk of big thing, about 4 ounces maybe of protein. Meal-wise, there's another meal frequency.
Did you say protein or protein?
Protein.
Protein.
Like it. Number of meals in a day. Does that matter? Has anybody heard that more frequent meals
I was
are?
gonna say, like about frequency.
Yes, absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. One, is there a certain degree? Is one meal better or equal to say let's having 6 meals or 4 meals in a day? No. We want to have a nice constant supply of the biggest component is protein. Getting in a protein source every 3 to 5 hours. Protein, like he talked about with fat being helps us full. Protein, very satiety.
Makes you full.
20%. Like it's the most. Like protein will fill you up more than any other two. So that's where we want that. It also helps with our muscle protein synthesis. So every 3 to 5 hours, getting some sort of a protein in there. So is that better? Sure. But whether it's 3 meals or 6 meals a day, like you're not going to burn more fat. You're not like creating your metabolism, sparking it up. It's your calories in, calories out first and foremost. That is your number one rule of thumb. Then it's the types of food that I'm taking in. Then it's the amount of time that I'm taking in. I have time for 3 meals in a day. Well, then your portion size maybe it's a little bit bigger. That because you have more, have less meals. But general rule of thumb, every time I eat, I want this amount of protein. I'm driving around, I need to cook something. Okay? Yeah, it's about that. About Jimmy John's again. For you people too like that, if it has a nutritional menu on a website, like that kind of stuff, most of them now do. Jimmy John's, Outbacks, your big chain restaurants, your Subways. Use the nutritional thumb. Like go on there. What's a 6-inch BLT? Okay, it has 60 grams of carbs. It only has 15 grams of protein. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. That has 20 grams of protein. Awesome. That's what I'm going to use for that. That's a good general rule of thumb. You don't need to be exact and go, how much meat do you put on your sub? Because I'm looking for about 4. Close enough. We're not that picky. We don't care. Just good rule of thumb to sort of go by.
So what do you have to say
Yeah.
to the person who only eats like once a day?
It's not ideal, obviously. One, for performance-wise, and two, there's people at intermittent fast. They go for 16 hours and they have like all their food in one time. Yeah. So again, there's people that do it. I know people on like Facebook, and I've done it for like a short period of time. Again, for any type of athletes, it's not ideal. But
Why would you?
they just claim that like you burn a ton of fat and like you go through his page, or they don't have the time, and they love having like one gigantic huge meal, like fills them up at night.
Definitely is convenient.
Yeah, it's super convenient.
You're
Again,
on the road all day.
Again, that's where like you're on the go. Powders or something like this, and you want to have a big dinner night, like you like pasta, or you like, again, we all like certain things. Well, great. There's times where we're busy. Like I'm in here, I'm coaching, I'm training, I'm doing this kind of stuff. I don't have time to have a meal. Like I throw a protein powder again. So at the end of the night, I know what my I know what my macros are per day. Like I know exactly my range. I've been doing it long enough, so I know. Okay, well I've trained or I haven't trained. I know roughly I have this amount of carbs left that I need to take in. Doesn't matter if I take them in at 9 o'clock at night or I take them in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. It's more of just a convenience feature too. So anybody ever heard that myth too? Carbs at night, makes you fat, or it turns into fat more than anything else. Okay, another false one. I used to preach it. I used to go by it. Get all your carbs in the morning. You want to burn it through the day. Your body doesn't know if it's 7 o'clock at night or if it's 6 o'clock at night. Your body knows calories. You need 2,000 calories a day. Did you hit your 2,000 calories a day by the time you went to bed? Yes. You're going to maintain your weight. Doesn't matter if you had it spread throughout the day. All your carbs, you had it at night. So it mainly comes down to, first and foremost, more of a convenience feature, but it has no significance like on your physical like structure.
They also say like you're resting a lot more of these hormones then, right? So when you eat these foods now, if you're only kind of spurring, activating these once a day versus 4 or 5 times a day, they kind of likened it to firefighter, right? That starts out at the firehouse or something like that. The alarm goes off once a day or something like that. After he's been there for 6 years, the alarm is going off 7 times a day, and he sleeps to the alarm now. So kind of thinking about that. It's a pretty new, actually newer thing, but we also kind of pull it back into some type of paleo or primal era, right? Where the fridge, I wasn't going to the fridge every 3 hours to get a meal, right? You were out walking around, you were hunting, you were trying to grab the meal, right? So, and the case where that is, that's where a lot of the people that the intermittent fasting camp is kind of like, well, would you really regularly eat every 3 or 4 hours, right? Probably not, but we wouldn't sit at a computer and all kinds of other shit we do now anyways, right? So is it good? Give it a shot. Give it a try, right? We all do basically intermittent fast, right? If you eat at 8 o'clock at night and you get up at 7 in the morning and eat again, right? There's some level of it right there, right? So if you want to push it to noon, push it to 9:30, try it. Give it a shot. If it works for you, if it's more convenient for you, and you're able to get in high quality foods by only taking in 1 or 2 meals a day, then I said do it. Absolutely.
I've done it where I'll train at 7 o'clock in the morning, and ideally, sure, in a grand scheme, should I get something within an hour or 2 hours just to sort of, sure. But I'm busy sometimes, or I'm just not hungry, and I go 3 hours or 4 hours. I didn't lose anything. I'm still comfortable. I'm still happy, So it's, try what works for your schedule, just like you said, what's convenient. Right. You know what? A good breakfast, man, that fills me up. I don't really need anything for lunch. No, I'll just have a shake. Great. I don't really need anything the rest of the day. At dinner time, man, I'm hungry. I'm home now. I can actually spend time with the family. I want to have a big meal then. Wow, and I'm losing weight and I'm comfortable. Great. If that works for you, awesome. Some people are nighttime eaters. They want to eat more at night. It helps put them to sleep. They sleep better at night with more carbs because that's the insulin spike. Fine. Other people that aren't carb sensitive or insulin sensitive, they'll have a bunch of carbs and they have tons of energy. So it's really not ideal for them to have a ton of carbs at night because they're going to be wide awake. It's more of try things out. Some people want big breakfasts. Some people get up and go, I'm not hungry for 3 hours. I just don't. So don't eat. You don't have to. There's nothing that says you need to, you know?
That's
So
like another myth. Like your muscles are not going to melt away if you don't get up and eat right away.
No.
Okay, it's not a real thing. Okay. I want to talk to a little bit real quick so we can keep you guys all night here. You know, we talked about Scott. We talked about. I'm gonna pick on you, right? Because you're right in front. Yeah, yeah. We talked about lack of convenience, right, with food, and that's really why we can't maybe stick to something.
It's abundance of convenience. That's the problem.
But
So like for me, I have a very busy schedule. So there's convenience everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a
That's not
convenient
high quality.
society.
right,
nowadays, now even a gas
That's the
station.
problem.
Gas station nowadays, you can get like a protein shake, you can get protein bars, you can get like vegetables, like you can get things like on the go that you can grab real quick, get in the car, drive, eat it, or get you where you need to. Take 5 seconds.
You're
Either
not full.
Right. Yeah. Hold on. So here's what I got for you.
Yeah.
Poultry is what? Chicken, right?
turkey.
Great, turkey. How many of you people have ever been to the grocery store and seen deli meat? Comes in a pack, you can rip it off, and you eat in 5 seconds. Okay, how many of you seen it? Yeah. Is that convenient?
It is, but I don't think that
But we haven't identified your goals yet. That's maybe the problem here, right? Okay, right. So again, chicken, pork, powder, right? How long does it take to take almond milk and powder and shake it together?
And you can do that the night before and have it ready to go for the day.
Seconds, right? So we do it the night before, 10 minutes when you're putting the kids to bed or whatever we're doing, right? Getting ready for the next day, right? I can get very, very easily rip open some deli meat. I can throw some avocados, some olives, some oils, okay? Some vegetables. What about carrots, celery, baby spinach, any of that shit? You guys ever seen it? Comes in a bag, right? Yeah, sometimes from the store. It's like fluffy, yeah, right? I've seen it on TV. I know they have it on TV in that world, right? Very easily, can you put those in a bag, slice them up, throw some olive oil, maybe some butter, some salt. Okay, how hard is that?
The big thing is preparation.
10
it's
minutes
taking
here.
a day and doing it.
10 minutes, okay? You can pack all these meals for travel, for work, whatever it needs to be. If you're flying, a lot of you epic guys, this is not hard, okay? This is really just making your goals stronger than your excuses, right? Not to sound like we're at goals here, all right? Sorry about that, all right? Very, very easily write a list out. When am I traveling? I'm on the road Monday and Wednesday. Okay, I need X amount, I need 50 grams of protein. So I need 2 packs of this. I can go hard boil some eggs, right? With hard boiled eggs. I can grab my protein powder, I can grab some nut butter, and I can put it in the box. And I can tell you what, if you prepare this, you can get it set for 5 minutes to leave every morning, and you can take that with you.
My wife does it every Sunday. That's her meal prep day. I've traveled outside sales. I've been in a car. I've been on a plane 3 to 4 days a week. I've been in the OR when I did medical device sales. So I didn't have the convenience of being and I still found ways doing that kind of stuff and prepping and taking things with me. I had a cooler that plugged into my cigarette lighter for my car, so I was in the car all day. Well, that way I can keep stuff cool. I travel, on a plane. I don't have it. I'm in OR. Sorry, doc, I can't help you with the spinal surgery that we're going in, but there's a break, or I have a quick shake that I take before I go into the hospital. I'm good. It's preparation. It's like, she takes 2 or 3 hours on a Sunday. She preps all her meals for the week. She puts them in the fridge, and then when she goes to work, she takes them with her. Easy and convenient. Would she want to do that every single night? Absolutely. That's where it gets tedious. That's where it's like, what day of the week do you have an hour that you can sort of do exactly what Chris is saying? Right. No, Tuesday night works good for me. Do it Tuesday night, plan ahead, throw stuff in the freezer too if you need to that's not going to be good for maybe in 3 days, and then take it out that night before so it's de-thawed. Now you're good to go. It's just preparation based on what our activity is, what we're planning on traveling, how busy our work schedule is. I'm going to be pretty busy these next couple of days. I better take a little time now before I go to bed, before I get up a little hour earlier, go ahead like this, and then you're going to set yourself up for success. And you're not going to be stressed out or trying to go to Jimmy John's or going to something quick because I don't have anything, I'm really hungry, I'm just going to go with this instead of planning a little ahead.
Right.
Once you start, it's a lot easier. Once you start doing it and just get used to it, it does become easy. At first, it's kind of like, ugh. It does get easier.
But what did you say, 2 hours on Sunday, 2.5 hours on Sunday, right? So you spread that out over 7 days with 20 meals. Okay, that's really not a lot of time, right? It's 5-10 minutes.
Friday just to stuff goes bad and I won't eat it.
Sure.
And then on the weekend, it's a free for all.
So the free for all, but I'm going to come back to this, that if it's 2.5 hours, right? If that's 150 minutes for 20 meals, right? How long does it take you to pull off the highway, take the time out of your day, go through the drive-through, park your car, go into Jimmy John? It takes the exact same time. All right, you just have to be prepared for it, right?
Choose.
Yeah.
Right.
Comes down to goals. You know.
Right. Cool. Cool. Real quick then, so we'll have obviously also navigating dining out, right? Do you know that if you go to a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, they will cook the food any way you absolutely tell them to? It doesn't have to come out in butter and soaked in all kinds of other things and breaded with the ranch and that stuff, right? They will cook it any way you possibly want it, right? So just ask them, right? They can cook your stuff on the side. They're more than likely, even if you get chicken or vegetables or any kind of stuff like that, they're going to soak it in butter and all kinds of unhealthy oils,
People
right?
request not to.
Right.
I do.
That's pretty easy.
Depending on my
You're paying the money. They
depending on
make it
where I'm-
however you want.
Yeah, depending on where I'm at, I'll do that. Like, and then you can look at Outback's nutritional menu. Steam, or it'll say like steamed broccoli, 8 grams of fat. Broccoli doesn't have fat at all. It's from the butter. So when I even at Outback, I'm like, can I get the broccoli without any butter or oils, please? Yeah, no problem. It comes, it's fresh. There it goes. So they're steaks. Everything is cooked. So it doesn't take time now. And nowadays, most restaurants, they know. So you go, hey, can I get the chicken or can I get the veggies? Can you make sure it's not cooked in any additional oil and butters, please? Yeah, no problem. You're helping yourself up, and it's not going to taste any different. You know, you're going to be like, oh, I don't notice it. We don't really notice a ton of butter or oil too much in like broccoli or something like this to an extent, you know. So or steaks. So it's just doing that knocks off a ton of calories. I mean,
Oh, can you calculate the wine and carbs for us?
the only thing here's the thing with alcohol is, and we won't go into like the amount of like, let's say, calories that are in a protein, carbs, fats, because that's like next stage. We don't really care about that. The only thing we don't really care about with alcohol is that our body, it sees that as a toxin. It's a negative thing. So the only negative downfall is that if I'm eating that, my body is going to see alcohol as a poison. It's going to attack it first. It's going to start burning the calories from the alcohol, and it's going to shuttle everything off, like the carbohydrates, the fats. No matter if they're good carbs, bad carbs, whatever they are, it's not going to try to burn those. It's not going to process those. Its main defense is getting that poison out of our body first. So that's why, yeah, we can have a glass of wine here or there. We can have a good beer here and there. But if we're serious about what really making changes, I can't have a 6-pack every single night. I just can't. I can't have 3 glasses of wine every single night because I'm also taking calories away. And this is, again, 200 calories for, a shot of whiskey like a rum and diet. 200 or 300 calories for, a 12-ounce beer. 300 or 400 calories for a glass of wine. I'm taking those nutrients out of my good fats, some of my proteins, my good vegetables, my fiber. So I can't get a ton of my calories from alcohol because now I'm not getting my micronutrients. I'm not getting all the quality stuff that I actually have. So can I fit, one in here a couple times a week? Or sure, I can because I'm still getting enough of this, but I can't. Well, I just want to have wine for my carbs, or I want to use that as a fat source. I can't because I'm going to take away from all the good stuff that I need. And she doesn't like that. She would love to have her wine for everything else, but I say, no, you can't do that. So that's just where your body sort of sees it. So can we enjoy it from time to time? Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I'm getting a little granular here, but in regards to like nuts, roasted nuts versus raw nuts.
Not really a big difference. Again, you'll see some things like microwaves are bad for it. Microwaves can actually help speed up the nutrition process that you actually get in your body. So there's no bad thing, good thing, or the other. Again, it's just more of a taste, maybe in a small percentile. But if you were going to have roasted or unsalted nuts compared to something a crappier fat, or saturated fat, eat the nuts. You're not going to notice any difference from you switching from one source to another source. You're not going, wow, man, I'm dropping weight like tons. There's nothing. It's more of a matter of a preference of taste and that kind of stuff. So. Yeah.
So if you're doing a protein shake for convenience, and it's mostly just the protein end of it, but it fills me up.
Yep.
Is it a problem not to have the carb and the fat?
No, you don't force yourself. Okay, if you like, I have a protein shake, like 2 of them a day, just because I'm here and I don't want anything else. Like I enjoy a bigger dinner. Like I have a lot of my carbs are on my training. I have a bigger dinner with my wife. I enjoy some stuff like this. So like my other couple meals that I have during the daytime, they're just protein shakes. So I just allocate maybe that fat that I'd have here and a little bit of the extra veggies that I have in that meal, I just bump them up into my dinner. So now I just have more at that meal. I'm still getting the amount of calories I need for that total day, but I'm not trying to force myself. And I've done it before too. Like, oh, I gotta have protein, carbs, and fats in every single meal. Oh God, I'm so full, but you don't have to. It's not the end all. It's just nice if we're having a solid meal. Hey, let's get a good protein source. Let's get some veggies in there now. Now I want to have a little bit of fat kind of stuff too. So, and your proteins and your powders, a lot of them make a difference. There's, like we talked about, like whey, egg. There's casein, which comes from like your yogurt, your cottage cheese. That's a slower digesting. It can be a little bit thicker of a protein, but it will help fill you up really full, depending on how much liquid you have. I can make a shake like this and get done. I'm like, I don't want any food. Nothing even sounds good for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. You know, it helps fill me up. Where maybe a faster protein powder like an isolate that I use around my training, I'll have that. My body burns through it fast. Now in an hour and a half, you know, I'm like, man, I'm sort of hungry now. So those are just different things. But again, that's sort of testing them out, because again, we all have our different flavors. You might really like whey protein. You might like egg protein. You might like soy protein, or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? It's just like test them out, see what tastes good, what fills you up. Like, look at the nutrients on the back. Man, this has a good amount of protein in it. Not a lot of carbs, not a lot of fat. Awesome. I like the taste of it. I'm going to use this as part of a meal replacement plan, or just when I don't have time to actually get something solid in my stomach, or I'm not hungry. You know, it's been 6 hours. I'm not really hungry, but I know maybe I should get a little something. I'm going to have a shake. At least that way I know I'm getting some protein in my body. I'm helping, you know, keep that muscle building or retention alive, but I'm not like forcing myself to eat because I'm not really not that hungry.
You talk about like a lot of the eating like this, for me at least, is mental.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any like philosophies on how to have that mental toughness about eating and stuff?
The biggest thing is, one, I was like, what's your goals? You know what I mean? Like, I'm very religious. Like, I've told a few people, like, you tell me what to eat, when to eat, and how much to eat, I'll do it. I don't care what it is. I've eaten tuna fish and veg all, which is canned vegetable, 6 times a day, 7 days a week for 6 months straight. Did not deviate from it, because that's what I told back then with a coach that I was sort of working with. Like, that's what it'll take. Fine, I'll do it. I don't care what it is. I've learned, it's more of like, you don't need to go to that extreme, but like, what's your goals? Well, this is what my goals are. How do I sort of stay on track and do that? It's finding the foods in here that you enjoy. Like, you know, you'll figure out a pattern, especially when you start going into like specific vegetables that you like. Man, I really love chicken. I really love beef, and I really like, you know, I'm a big peanut butter fan. Anybody that sends me on Instagram, you'll see like 18 million posts of peanut butter. Like, that's where my main fat source comes in. I love it. I eat a ton of it. So I use that more than I do a lot of like, I'm like avocados. I don't use a ton of it though, but you might like avocado. Well, find the foods that you enjoy and that fill you up and that sort of help you stay on track. Then you'll be like, man, okay, well, I can eat this stuff. And then you'll find other stuff where, man, that just doesn't fill me up. Or again, trigger foods that crave something else. I need to stay away from that. I don't need to keep that in the house. And then that way, you know, you can stay on track and you can enjoy it. You should enjoy your meal. You shouldn't have to force something down like, ugh, I don't want to eat chicken because I know it's good for me, but don't eat it. There's a ton of different sources, and I'll hand this out, and it's just a rough idea of some macronutrients, like some carb sources, carbs that also include some protein in them too, like quinoa, beans, like those kinds of stuff. Like, they're a good source they're a plant-based protein, very good for you. Then there's your proteins that are just more proteins only. Then like your eggs, your salmon that have like good quality, healthy fats for you, and then just your fats in general. So it's finding those things. There's enough variety out there that, you know, we can go, I'm getting sort of, I had chicken now like this last couple of weeks. I'm just, you know, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna have beef this week. And then you'll find those 2 or 3 sources that most times, like, you just get in a rut and you're like, I'm good with this. Like, this kind of dinner, we have the same almost dinner every single night. I enjoy it. It's good for me. It fills me up. I don't get sick of it. Great, that's what I'm going to use. From time to time, when we go out to dinner, that's where I'll deviate, and I won't have chicken, or I won't have this. I'll like, steak sounds good tonight, or I haven't had salmon in a long time. That's what I'm going to have tonight instead, and that's where I'll get that little bit of difference. Allows me to stay on track, and it adds a little bit of variety, so I'm not just like, constant. I'm just bored, and I'm eating the same stuff all the time. Add a little variety, but a lot of times we'll find that I travel, this works for my schedule. I know, you know, these kind of protein powders, I'm going to use this. My breakfast is good with a couple eggs and a half a cup of oatmeal. Great.
What about cheat meals? How many of those do you have?
You know, cheat meals, relaxed meals, fun meals, we shouldn't ever give those up. That's one of those where, unless you're stepping on stage, and none of us really, I don't think, are,
you know, you want to go out on a Friday night and have a couple drinks, or you want to have a birthday party, or you want to have something that you just normally don't have, enjoy it. The big thing is don't, you know, the next day go, okay, I better not eat this at all today, or man, I got to do 3 hours of cardio. Don't feel guilty about it. Enjoy it. Like sometimes we need that sort of mental break of eating good quality foods throughout the week, or use that as like, man, I stuck to the plan. I was busy all week. I traveled, but you know what? I did everything. You know what I'm gonna have? I want to have like a good pizza. Or I want to have, you know, a big huge chocolate bar. I want to have that. You know, I've sort of earned that kind of stuff. I did really well. I'm proud of myself. Well, then use that. Use that as a sort of a reward feature to sort of like, man, I did good. Wake up Sunday, go back to your normal eating schedule. Don't feel, you know, bad about it, and you know, you'll still, you know, make progress. You still, there's nothing that you have to give up, or you're not going to throw a week's worth of, you know, good quality eating away for one meal that you went outside of the boundaries, or you overindulged a little bit. Sometimes it's good for our body to sort of shock it a little bit too, and mental sort of shock and go, man, or, ooh, man, you know what? That was okay, but I'm ready. That was fine. I'm ready for my normal foods again. So sometimes we need that just to sort of get back on track as well too. So.
Or do you want to hand me those?
And this isn't the end all be all of everything. It's just a nice short list that will help us out, sort of, you know, give us an idea of like what some good carb sources are, some good protein sources, some fats, those kinds of stuff. Just in general, we might not have thought about as a good carb/protein source or whatever. Like, I've never tried that. Now you try something new and go, man, this is really, really good. Or you try and go, yep, nope, not gonna do this again. Again, it's experimenting and sort of trying out new foods and seeing. And you might be surprised at some things that you might like that you never liked before. So.
Good. All right, guys. So we got a couple things just to wrap here. You know, like Tori said, and we talked about, there's not going to be one diet that works for everyone. Hopefully that doesn't confuse everyone as you're leaving here, right? Kind of finding something within the range of what your goals are. And if you don't have the goals, then let's start there. Okay. Takeaways, I guess. What we want to see everyone do here is track one day of their meals per week. We'll have a second speech talk kind of thing here, right? So let's try, everyone that's here, let's try and track those from now until then, right? So we don't really know when that is, so we kind of try and get you guys into this habit. And everyone here needs to increase their water intake by 32 ounces. Absolutely everyone. Man, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you're drinking right now. More water, right?
I've been on a plane 3 or 4 times every single week traveling. I've been in a car covering 3 states. I've been in an OR. So I've figured out a way to stay on track for my goals and do this no matter what I've been doing. So it can be done. It just takes that preparation and knowing what kind of snacks can I bring. Hey, beef jerky, great. It's in the gas station. Good protein source. And depending on what ones I choose will dictate how much like carbs and sugar in there and that kind of stuff. Great, I can grab that. I can grab, you know, like hard-boiled eggs now, or I can grab, you know, a piece of fruit. Great, I can grab this cold cuts of vegetables, or I can in the refrigerator. Like, hey, milk. Hey, depending on how much fat I want. Hey, I can get some milk. Great, it's got a good protein source. It's got some carbs. It's got a good fat. Great, I can drink one of those on the way. Boom, there's my meal. Great, simple, easy, convenient, healthy, no big deal.
So guys, I just threw some up there if you guys want to take a shot of it, whatever. Looking at breakfast, right? 4 hard-boiled eggs. This is for about a man about my size, Tori's size, right? So obviously scale it up, scale it down. You can use this measure. Okay. 6 ounces of deli meat, 6 ounces fresh veggies, maybe an avocado, half an avocado, whatever that needs to be. We can go 8 ounces of a tuna packet. They make it in olive oil, virgin olive oil, with a bag of steamed rice or something that you can very easily throw in a microwave. For snacks, maybe some almond milk, scoops of protein, 2 RX bars, right? This entire day of packing will take you 10 minutes. Okay, it's very, very, very simple. Okay, so if you do not have something like this, you can't eat this. You're eating at Pizza Hut, it's because you haven't identified and stuck to your goals. Okay, it's not because you don't have time.
Or you really like pizza.
Or you really like pizza. Right.
And who doesn't?
So if those are your goals, right? My goals are to eat all the pizza in Madison in one night, and I've gotten close. Right. So right, we have to identify goals, and then if you're not really hitting the results you want, because you got only yourself to blame. That. Cool. Guys, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome, thank you.
Fitness for the win.